Happy Saturday, folks. Now, to say NIO, the ticker symbol NIO, has been generous to me this year would be the understatement of the decade. Now, I'm not going to reveal my exact numbers, but suffice to say, trust me when I say this, my returns have been astronomical, has been ridiculously amazing, has been phenomenal. Fill in whatever superlative you want in there. Now, before I start this NIO tribute video, I want to say a disclaimer because I've seen other investment videos on YouTube and there seems to be a common denominator, a common theme. They always have a message at the beginning. So I'm going to put this message out. I am not a financial expert. I'm not a financial professional. This video is for entertainment purposes only. If you lose all your money in the stock market because of me, don't blame me, don't sue me. This video is not investment advice. Okay, I know that this is pretty ludicrous that I even have to say it. It should be common sense. You shouldn't be following advice on YouTube and blaming the messenger. But you know what? America, the country that I'm living in right now, is the most litigious that I know of. Everyone seems to want to sue everyone else for everything. Just recently, a lady choked to death during a pancake eating contest, and I believe her parents sued the event organizer, the school, for sanctioning the event. What is that? When you go into an competitive eating contest, you should know there are risks involved. You might choke, you might vomit, or you might catch diseases, whatever. But it's not the event organizer's fault. I mean, what's going to happen now? Every time I go into McDonald's or a restaurant, I'm about to fill out 20 pages of waivers. Like, I understand the risk. I'm not going to sue this place. What's going to happen now? So with all that being said, please do not take this video seriously as far as investment advice, but I want to go over the reasons why I am heavily invested in NIO, or I haven't have been heavily invested in NIO. I still am. I see a bright future for it. And at the end, I'm going to cover reasons why I am cautious about future growth. The first reason NIO is such an attractive choice for me is because it has home court advantage in the world's biggest automobile market. Now you take a look at this graph here from 2013, and I'm stuck with this one because it's the most up-to-date one I could find. If I could find one for 2020, I would use it. But if you extrapolate it, the numbers should be pretty similar. So if you take a look here, initially I thought the U.S. I always think the U.S. is the best at everything or the greatest, but apparently the U.S. does not have the biggest car market. If you look at the graph here, China beats it by almost 5 million. And this makes a lot of sense because China's population is, 5 times the US at 1.5 billion citizens. So it's not a surprise there. I just thought China just didn't have the buying power for their people to buy cars. US being a more developed or a richer country, its citizens have more cash to spend on cars. But no, China is the world's biggest car market, and it has home court advantage, meaning NIO is a Chinese company, headquartered in China, manufactures the cars in China. And if you go to a Lakers game in LA, inevitably most of the fans are going to be rooting for the Lakers. If you go to a Celtics game in Boston, most of the fans are going to be rooting for Boston. If you go to China, most of their consumers are going to be buying, or they're going to be biased and buy Chinese cars because they want to support their own people. It's the same everywhere else. So in China, there's Ford, there's Honda, there's Toyota, there's Volkswagen, there's Buick, all sorts of international brands there in China. But NIO is one of the homegrown Chinese brand, so they have the home court advantage. And Chinese consumers are going to be more inclined to purchase that brand over like a Ford or a GM, for instance. Reason number two is the incomprehensibly large population in the middle class. So even though China's overall population is over 1.5 billion, obviously not all of those citizens are capable of affording cars, let alone an expensive luxury car that NIO offers. But if you take a look here, there are over 700 million in the middle class. And needless to say, not all of those 700 million people in the middle class are or have the buying power to take home a NIO car. But let's say even half of that, 50%. So 350 million are capable of affording a NIO SUV. That's still an insanely huge number. Even if NIO is able to capture just 10% of the 350 million, then they would have demand for decades and decades. Reason number three is the Chinese government is going to pass a law, or maybe they have already passed a law. I'm not too sure about that. But the law is going to ban the sale of fossil fuel cars. Now, fossil fuels being diesel, gasoline, natural gas, they're going to ban the sale of those cars completely, 100% by the year 2035. And not only that, they will do it incrementally. They'll do incremental enforcement 5 years from now, 2025, and then 10 years from now, 2030. So 2025, they're going to ban 25% the sale of fossil fuel cars. And then 2030, they'll ban about 50%. And my personal opinion is consumers are going to discover that electric cars, EVs, are so much superior to fossil fuel cars that they will essentially implement that ban themselves instead of needing the government to step in and doing that enforcement. So, but having the Chinese government put out that law or that message doesn't hurt. Another big reason is Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden, if you don't know, just got declared the next president of the United States. And he, especially during the debates, he comes off as one of the most pro EV presidents that I can remember. He wants to expand the charging infrastructure in the country. He wants to bring back the EV tax incentive, even for Tesla, a company that has sold over 200 million units. He doesn't have any beef with China. He doesn't have a fraught relationship with China. So that just facilitates and makes it easier for NIO to bring their product, their cars here and market it here in the United States. It's one of the second biggest car market in the world. So yeah, Joe Biden is another big reason. So by now, almost everyone has heard of NIO, but not many people know who the NIO CEO is. Well, his name is William Li, and he's a big reason why I am invested in NIO. He's got charisma oozing out his ears. This guy is very confident. He always sports a smile. He has a magnetic personality. One example is the last year's YouTube interview when NIO was only trading around $1. He said, "I am sure that NIO is going to come back stronger. We have tremendous growth potential. Our product is coveted by the masses." So he restored a lot of investors' confidence. He usually sports an unremarkable t-shirt during most of these interviews, so that makes him relatable to young people. He has great leadership qualities. He's trustworthy. People follow him, and I see him with a lot of potential to leading this company, to the sky, to the moon, to the stars. So there is no doubt that I'm a big fan of EVs, but you say there are literally tens, maybe even hundreds of EV companies out there that I traded on in the stock market. There's Solo, Arcimoto, Workhorse, Li Auto, Xpeng. Why am I not invested in those other ones? Well, a big reason is the product, the beauty, the looks, the appearance of the product. Solo, I can see myself driving that car, but as far as driving it to pick up women, that's not something that I can picture in my mind. Arcimoto, the same thing. Workhorse, their vehicle, not too attractive. But NIO's got one hell of a good looking car. So that was another big driving factor for me that convinced me to get into NIO big time. All right, let's agree on this. You can have every other criteria met. You can have the Chinese government be pro EV. You can have your product looking extremely good. You can have a home court advantage. You can have a lot of people who have the capability to buy cars. You can have an industrious population. You can have a charismatic CEO. But if you don't have demand for your product, then you fail. Fortunately for NIO, there is extremely high demand. And one of the reasons why demand is so high is NIO offers their members specialized benefits that only NIO drivers or NIO owners get, such as access to the clubhouse. I'm trying to remember from a YouTube video I've seen, but they get benefits like learning how to adjust to a higher class, more luxurious lifestyle. And that's why their demand is so high. And don't listen to me about their demand numbers. Listen to the man, William Li himself.
William, you had a very strong August. Deliveries for NIO were up 100% year on year. Can that pace of deliveries be sustained, do you think?
In fact, demand in July and August was even stronger than actual deliveries, as we had a conservative sales estimate at the beginning of the year. Our supply chain partners were not ready for even higher production. We are working to solve this problem in the current quarter. We believe production capacity will have improved in September. We will keep boosting capacity in the coming months, especially for the EC6, which started deliveries at the weekend.
Elon Musk.
With all the good news being stated, there are reasons to be cautious. There are dark forces pushing against the growth of the stock. It's not just roses and green lawn as far as the eye can see. One of the big obstacles are short sellers betting against the stock. An infamous one being Citron, which drove the stock price down about 7% this past Friday. It's freaking Citron. At first, I thought Citron was a transformer, and then I found out it's public enemy number one for NIO investors. So Citron being one of them, dark force. Another one is pundits say that the stock has gone up too fast, too quickly. The valuation is 8 times the predicted 2022 sales. So the number of deliveries, the number of cars produced does not match the valuation compared to like GM, which delivered 1 million vehicles, but their valuation is less than NIO at the moment. So that's something else to keep in mind, and consider before you invest here. Personally, for me, I'm going pretty much all in to NIO because I see the stock price going to the moon, to the stars. But you got to do your own due diligence. You have to do your own homework, and you got to take your own risk. But I would do it. All right, I'll catch you guys another time.